Dear friends, hello to everyone. I see that someone has handled my knife a bit, even though I usually forbid anyone from touching my knives. It needs a little bit of care. I rarely use it myself. Last time, when I made a video about my friend from Amsterdam, the Michelin-starred chef, Andre took it and apparently put it somewhere. Oh, that's it. Now it's perfect. So, what's gonna happen in my kitchen today? You often write to me saying that Moscow is living it up, and so on. We only take the simplest ingredients and make something tasty out of them. Could you make something like that? So, today the plan is mackerel. Look, you all know that mackerel is a valuable commercial fish. It has about 16% fat, vitamin D, and all sorts of other vitamins. Basically, it lives in the Atlantic and a bunch of other different bodies of water. So, when you fry or boil it, it turns out pretty dry. You probably value and love it most in the form of cold smoked mackerel. And very often, at least in my circle, I meet people who salt it at home, make spice brine, regular brine, or some kind of, exotic brine. Today, I'll tell you how to make delicious fish when all you have is plain mackerel. So, I have one fish like this. I gutted it here and removed the gills. That's it. I threw out the guts. It's very important to kind of think about what exactly we want to get out of all this. You can fillet it, or you can cut it the way everyone in Russia does, into round slices like this. That's exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to fillet it. You already know how. And you can watch another video about filleting fish. I'll just remind you once again that to remove the fish's head, you don't need to ruin a good knife. Some fish have very tough spines, and people try to chop them with an axe or something else. You just need to make a cut and then bend it in the opposite direction. Watch what happens. The head broke off effortlessly. To avoid tearing the meat, yes, I help with the knife. So if you like to gnaw on the head, be sure to keep it, don't throw it away. Everything goes into the bowl. This spot here, which in Japan is called the cheeks. This fin area, which is usually cut off, is called cheeks. Yes, it's fatty, tasty, and really good. In Kamchatka, they call this part koltichki. I say that this is the gill fin. And here is the gill part. Accordingly, the gill flappy always cut this off. Look, the fish is super fresh. And when you slice it like this, don't cut thick pieces. Well, here it's probably about 1 centimeter thick, maybe just a bit more. Don't cut out the fins, because sucking on the fin is the tastiest part. If they get in the way, just take scissors and cut them off. Take the rest and carefully slice it up. If your knife is sharp, nothing will crumble and the fish won't turn into mush. Keep an eye on your knives. See, mine cuts like butter. There you go. For example, if you have a smoker at your dacha, you can smoke mackerel yourself. You just need to ask your dad or grandpa to help you. You can smoke it in these round slices like this. This way it happens much faster. But you can also smoke it whole. To smoke it whole, you need to salt it first. For salting, I recommendo, and for this tailpiece, I make cuts like this along the sides, one on each side. Why? So that the flavors can penetrate there. That's it. We leave everything, we don't throw anything away. So I recommend this. If you want and you have time overnight, for example, you can make a 5% salt solution. 5% means you incorporate, for example, a total of 50 grams of salt per liter of water.
Liter of salt?
Ah, yes. Per liter of salt. 5% means you add 50 grams of salt per liter of water. Now, the onion, this is a small onion, about 50 grams, and I slice it into thin feathers like this, because no matter how you look at it, mackerel really, really loves onion. I'll make the marinade separately, and then pour it over the mackerel. So, I transfer the onion into a bowl. Don't be stingy with the onion. For example, right now my mackerel smells and the onion has started to give off its aroma. You know, it's just delicious. Even the aroma of the onion by itself and the aroma of the mackerel by itself. So what else do I need to add here? Dill. Be sure to include the stems. Be sure to include the stems because, as I've said more than once, the stems have the most flavor. That's it. And as for the leaves, you can chop them coarsely. Don't be shy. Damn, this knife is really inconvenient for cutting greens. Now this goes in here. You see, for those people who just can't stop and keep trolling about my bracelets and rings, just for you, and only for you, I put on gloves so that, God forbid, nothing from my hands ends up in the food. Now, the tomato. You can use one fresh tomato or a few cherry tomatoes. Basically, just use whatever you have on hand. I cut it into large pieces like this and add it in here. 2 cloves of garlic. You don't need a lot. But garlic absolutely has to be in the marinade because, well, how can a Russian go without garlic? How can my channel go without garlic? That's just impossible. Garlic is flavor. This way, after marinating the fish, you'll be able to eat it in just about 2 hours. Well, if you're really hungry, you can eat it after just an hour. But I still recommend waiting 2 hours. So look, here we have 2 cloves of garlic, 1 small onion, and a small bunch of dill. And Dusha is lying over there, not here. So there was really absolutely no possible way to mess up Dusha. Next. And from here on, I won't need the knife anymore. Next, I'll need a bottle of oil, just regular sunflower oil. Pour in just a little. So there's only a small amount. Be sure to add black pepper or a pepper mix. Don't be stingy with this. One of my friends wrote to me and said, like, you told us to put a lot of pepper in the dumpling filling. He said, next time I'll add less. Of course, what I mean is that you don't need to dump a ton in there, right? You should always go by your own taste after all. So don't blame me later saying that I told you to add a lot. So you poured in a whole cup. All right. Let me measure out the soy sauce then so there's no misunderstanding between us. Look, for preparing just 1 mackerel, I use exactly the following. 1, 2, 3, 4 generous tablespoons of soy sauce. I want you to pay close attention to what's happening here as I add the sauce. The soy sauce I'm using is actually from Thailand. It's a special variety that my producer kindly brought back for me as a gift when he was vacationing there. This particular soy sauce has a unique flavor profile, which adds a wonderful depth to the dish. Using a high quality soy sauce can really make a difference in the final taste. So I always recommend choosing the best you can find. It's a really great Thai brand, of course. But soy sauce isn't the problem at all. You can find it everywhere in Russia. So just take any kind you like and use it. So what do you need to do now? This is a very important, extremely important step. You need to take all the vegetables along with the tomatoes and onions and mash them up really well. This is so that the juices can thoroughly combine together and the marinade becomes so incredibly aromatic and fragrant. You've truly never encountered such a wonderful, enticing scent from mackerel before in your life. Just like this. So yes, as you can see, I even have just the skins left here. This is how marinade is made for shashlik as well, right? I've known this since childhood. My dad always told me, in order for shashlik to marinate well, you need to squeeze the onion so that the juice comes out. It's this onion acid that will then interact with the meat. In our case, it's fish. Look, there's a lot of juice now. See, the tomato and onion have made this kind of liquid. So before you pour the marinade over the fish, you need to taste this glove that you were squeezing everything with. Honestly, there's enough salt but I would add a bit more. Why? Because the fish is fatty and needs a little more salt. Now, add the regular salt. As the Chinese say, soy sauce is for flavor, not for salting. That's why I'm adding a little salt here. And yes, you know what important element I haven't added yet? Vinegar. I haven't added vinegar, man. I almost forgot, almost misled you. Look, this is rice vinegar, but you can use apple cider vinegar or any other kind. The main thing is that it shouldn't be 70% strength. Look, I'm pouring in a little less than a tablespoon here, just a bit less than a full tablespoon, not quite to the brim. This is so that, as I already mentioned, the fish will be ready in 2 hours. 1 tablespoon won't cook it through. The onions, tomatoes, and oil here will prevent that from happening. Now, yes, that's it. Now with all of this, you see we've got a sauce like this. A bit of liquid, a liquidy sauce. Now, all of this needs to be transferred to the mackerel like this. So when I transfer a portion, I do it like this. I transfer part of it, then immediately mix it. This way, all the onions and already some of the tomatoes, garlic, and everything else fall to the bottom. Just like that. And so that every piece gets at least a little bit salted, just a tiny bit on top. That's it. Now I lay out the rest. I leave the spoon here. Why? So that ideally, every 15 to 20 minutes, you can stir it because the juice runs down to the bottom and things get more salted there, while the top gets less salted. There are aromas, but everything needs to be salted evenly. That's why you should stir it every 15 to 20 minutes for 2 hours. And then you won't be able to tear yourself away from the table. So a few hours have passed. Take a look at what we've got. First of all, by the aroma the aroma, you wouldn't say this is mackerel. It smells like anything but fish. Well, I mean, of course, it obviously smells like fish, but not the way fresh mackerel or just salted mackerel does. Here, the tomato, dill, and onion, all of it together, creates a certain flavor profile. So, judging by the fact that the broth we had here has turned white, it means that the protein, yes, has cooked a bit from the vinegar, from the acidity in the tomato, from the onion, and everything else. So we ended up with these kinds of pieces, which, in my opinion, look very appetizing. Just take a look. Look what a dill starfish it is. And these pieces, accordingly, are now ready to be transferred to a plate. Since mackerel is quite a large fish, 3 people can easily use it as an appetizer for, say, dinner. For a family, I mean, you know, that's how we all eat, right? We don't just have one dish, do we? There's fried potatoes, mackerel, maybe some pickled cucumbers, something else. All of this together turns into a kind of dinner. We all try to make dinner as varied as possible. In any case, I definitely recommend making it varied. You can see what kind of pieces we get. All right, there's some onion left here. Someone keeps giving me hints. Damn, I can't figure out, is there someone else here or what? Okay, definitely the head, since we left it. Let's attach it here somewhere. There we go. The mackerel's head. And here goes the mackerel's tail. That's it. If you want, you can just take all the onion like this and put a heap of it on top, just like that, for those who like it. You know how they serve shashlik? At a shashlik place, they just pile marinated onions on top. This onion is also very tasty. Don't forget about it. But I'll pour a little of the juice that formed during marinating. Oh, just look at that. It's almost like ceviche. The aroma is absolutely wonderful. The aroma is wonderful. Such a simple appetizer. You know, even though we always make some kind of marinade, whether it's for fish or meat, right? We wait for some time. That's why many bloggers deceive us. You, to be more precise. And they deceive me too. They write, a quick appetizer in 15 minutes. 15 minutes to chop everything up and put it together, then it sits in the oven for 40 minutes, and then you eat it all. But as if it only took 15 minutes. So, look, we ended up with this kind of wonder fish, like a whale. I served it to you, so to speak, as if, damn, it's in a restaurant. It looks amazing. Well, since I have a magic black glove that will prevent the fish from getting on my hands, they won't smell like fish. Here I have, you see, this one is actually with the little bones. It's almost coming off. Unbelievable. I should make this recipe more often. I think this is just awesome for those who love fish. Awesome. We remove the bones. And the pickled onions are just magnificent. Sorry, I got carried away. I really like this mackerel. I'm sure you'll like it too. Be sure to make all of these. Serve it to your family. Especially if they love fish, I'm saying it again. Because there are a lot of people in Russia who buy mackerel. If you generally eat it and aren't afraid of that distinctive fishy aroma, this will simply become one of your top dishes. So, enjoy your meal. See you next time, dear friends and subscribers. Subscribe and get your neighbors to subscribe too. Bring them in like at the draft office, right? They say, bring in a conscript and we'll give you a 2-month deferment. Bring in 3 conscripts and we'll give you a 6-month deferment. So you too, bring your friends and get even more interesting recipes. Bye.